All right, gentlemen, with this one right here, we are on the tactical, and we're going to get into our heavy bolt rifle hard siege guide and just how you're going to want to set this thing up. There are certain class abilities you're going to want to switch up to. Your parry scans are a lot less effective when it comes to the heavy bolt rifle overall, and your max scans are going to absolutely melt all the high priority targets that are on the map, and you can get your scans back every 45 seconds as long as you hit a extremist or terminus higher level enemy. And then on top of that, you can grab ammo boxes to basically keep your scans up at will, letting you really designate certain waves that you can drop multiple scans if you choose to, just letting you and your team go through any priority targets that are really on the map. So we're going to get into everything we're seeing on the screen here. We will go over our secondary and our melee weapon as well. The heavy bolt rifle itself is going to feel fantastic in this build, guys, and I really do think this is the #1 build if you're trying to push high with the heavy bolt rifle. I think every other build is kind of lacking when it comes to damage overall, and this is the only thing that makes the heavy bolt rifle hit this hard. So I highly suggest, if you do run this weapon, at least giving this build right here a try. Okay, moving into our overall class build here, we're going to have Acuity, we're going to have Fortitude, and you're going to want Spare Power. You definitely want Spare Power, guys, 100%. And then we're going to have Skilled Supplier, but you can definitely take the 40% stims over this, and that may actually even be a better choice. So it's either Skilled Supplier here or your 40% increased med stims. But you want Spare Power, you want Fortitude, and you want Acuity 100%. And then we're moving up to the class build here. We will have our Plasma Pistol, and honestly, it's going to hit extremely hard as well. So anytime you run low on ammo, you're switching to this. And then we're going to have our Heightened Vigor for knockback resistance. We have our Emperor's Vengeance to keep our ammo up. Secure Stockpile. We have Vital Data. This is very important. Vital Data and Spare Power is like, you know, very important in this build. Vital Data is going to give you 50% back on your scan, which is a 45-second wait time. And then you can always increase that or decrease that wait time by grabbing ammo boxes, which you can buy, you know, at will. So, you know, during boss waves, you're going to want just a stack of ammo boxes, just the small ones, spend 30 points, drop them somewhere so you can go to them if you need extra scans during your boss wave. So that is like very important, and it's just going to help out a lot. So, you know, one scan on a boss, as long as you get him at the right time, he is going to go down, so you shouldn't really need multiple scans until, you know, extremely high waves and things like that. And then we're finishing off here with Radiating Impact. So obviously the main switch here is off your parry scan, which honestly, your parry scan, it makes the heavy bolt rifle feel pretty good, but it really doesn't make it strong or overpowered. And when you tie these two together, this actually does make the weapon feel overpowered against the strongest things in the game. And I would argue that the boss damage with these double scans, even with the heavy bolt rifle, is hard to rival with any other class. And like I said, you are using one of your weaker weapons and you're still doing amazing damage. So anybody who is running the heavy bolt rifle in Siege, I highly suggest that you switch over to this build. You give it a try. You use your ammo boxes to keep your scans up on your harder waves, and you use your Vital Data to you're only going to scan extremist or higher level targets, and that is it. Okay, when we're looking at the heavy bolt rifle itself here, now any of the gameplay you're going to see, I was in the firepower version, and that is going to be up to you. I do think all of these versions are really good. Obviously, I was trying to do the max amount of damage to maximize my scans, and just I had no problems with ammo or anything like that. So firepower version, I think, is a good way to go. But all the versions, I think, are going to just hit really, really hard with this build right here. And then we are going to maximize this as an actual rifle and just go with our 40% onto anything that's distance. And then obviously, if you can scan anything at distance and hit it, you're going to do massive amount of damage. The only thing I would really switch up here is if you don't want these penetrator rounds, you can go with Honed Precision, because having this 50% while firing, you know, hip firing is very nice as well. But just overall, guys, I have set this up in so many different ways. Obviously, I have tried all max headshot damage and just applying all kinds of damage multipliers that are on the class, and none of it ever really feels like it's quite enough. So I feel like setting it up to where it is going to just take advantage of it as much as you can, like a long-range rifle. And then obviously the Minoris clear on this thing is very nice, and the ammo, the magazine capacity is great as well. So that really helps when you do get something scanned. The odds of you running out of ammunition before the scan ends, you know, you're basically not going to run out until almost the scan ends, as long as you have a full magazine in your clip when you scan something, which obviously I suggest you always have a full magazine when you scan something. But overall, heavy bolt rifle, guys, I think it's going to perform this well in multiple different ways, even the headshot version, but it's going to give you a little less like overall base damage. And then right here, you're grabbing like some terminus. Where's that terminus damage? Isn't there terminus damage down here? Yeah, and then there's a little bit of terminus damage down here and stuff. So, you know, this is the one I'm suggesting and what felt really good for me overall. And then you're going to have your plasma pistol. You are going to have your plasma pistol in the fire rate version, because with the scans, how we got them set up, we want to get max damage as quick as possible, and our fire rate version is going to allow us to get off mega shots, you know, much quicker than our normal rate. You're just going to sacrifice some of your ammo. And then, yeah, so you set it up this way right here. You're going for max radius and a bunch of ammunition. And then we are going to take the combat knife. Anytime you don't have to use the chainsword for minors clear, I highly suggest taking the combat knife to have this extra boss damage in melee situations anytime that it does come up. And just overall single target damage is very, very powerful when it comes to the knife. Definitely in the block version, the single target damage is very strong. And then at any time you scan anything, and definitely if you have the block knife, you are going to rip through it. Now, the parry knife, I like to take the parry knife most of the time, honestly, when I'm the tactical, to deal with any Minoris enemies that come up on me. But, you know, obviously anything that you run best with, that's what you're going to take. And then I do suggest running this setup right here, grabbing shoulder bash. This allows you to come out of your sprinting attack very, very quickly. And then as well as Shadow Stab is one of the most powerful single targets hits in the entire game. And I would argue if you have something scan and you Shadow Stab it, you are definitely hitting for the most melee damage in the entire game. So it is very strong in that aspect as well. So overall, guys, when it is coming to the heavy bolt rifle on the tactical, I think in siege mode, this is going to make the gun honestly feel the best that I've ever had it feeling in the entire game. The way I can keep my scans up, use my ammo boxes for scans, I'm getting 50% of my scans back, so I can use it so much more often, and everything just dies so much quicker when you have these max scans tied to the heavy bolt rifle. And like I said, it does make it much more impactful than any other build that I have ran so far. So I do appreciate you guys checking out this video, and I will catch you on the next one.
To win this battle, neutralize the major threats. Full specs prime. Full specs prime.